Islam, Islam, Islam. And I know I have a slight echo here, but I'm trying. Okay, you already know that I will do the best that I can to get this done. Okay, let's get started. Of course, we will start with the Moorish American prayer. And if you're standing, it's two fingers on the right, five on the left. And because I'm sitting, Islam, Islam, Islam. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. And as always, I'd like to begin with our intro, giving praises to the causeless cause and the rootless root from which all things have grown, the great God, Allah. I honor the last prophet of this dispensation, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, in all three forms. I give honor to Grand Sheikh John Gibbonsville, who steadfastly upheld the foundation laid by the founder. Honors are extended to modern-day Moses and Aaron, Grand Sheikh Richardson Dingle-Eel, and Grand Sheikh Timothy Dingle-Eel, who confronted Pharaoh and established the means for our people to be registered and set free. I acknowledge the forefathers who sacrificed their lives so that this nation might have a true birth of freedom. I honor my home temple, 1055 North Milton Avenue, as well as our sister temple, 2900 West Pressman Street. Recognition is given to Grand Sheikhs / National Grand Sheikhs of the Moorish Divine and National Movement, Tiffany Jones Beck, the Supreme Grand Sheikh and Sheikhs Prayer, and all who are listening today and the future. We are not here to dispute charters, who's the Supreme Grand Sheikh, because it's just not necessary. So today, we're going to start off, as I always do, reading from the Holy Quran of Mecca. Let's see. And this is Surah 39, Ayat 44 and 45. Say to Allah belongs exclusively the right to grant intercession. To him belongs the dominions of the heaven and earth. In the end, it is him that ye shall be brought back. And then the footnote says, see Surah 2, 255, 10, 3, 20, Ayat 109, and note 2634. 2128, note 2688. It follows that no one can intercede with Allah except 1, by Allah's permission. 2, for those who have prepared themselves by penitence for Allah's acceptance. Even in earthly courts, advocacy is not permitted to anyone. The advocate must be granted the position of advocate before he can plead before the judge. Nor can it be supposed that a plea for forgiveness or mercy can be put forward except on the grounds recognized by equity and justice. All times, including our present life, all dominion belongs to Allah. At the end of the present plane of existence, we shall be placed before Allah for judgment. And it amazes me many of us, how many of us think we can do more science without Allah or without religion. It's amazing to me. When Allah, the one and only, is mentioned, the hearts of those who believe not in the hereafter are filled with disgust and horror. But when gods other than He is mentioned, behold, they are filled with joy. To the evil ones, the mention of exclusive service of good is hateful. They only rejoice when other motives are added: personal indulgence, ancestral customs, and numerous things in life which compete with Allah's law in this world. As Muslims, as proclaimed Moorish Americans, we have a birthright, which is Islamism. And in Islamism, to be a Muslim, one must submit his will to Allah, not to himself, not to his leader, but to the great God, Allah. And if you have not done that, then you will more than likely have a misconception. So I'm going to stop sharing. Let me see. And so, as we move on, I am going to figure out I have an echo or feedback here. I'm not sure why, but I will one day figure that out. But hopefully you can hear what I am speaking about. So this week is the week we actually go to Washington, D.C. to the Lincoln Memorial, and we actually honor the proposal, the initial proclamation of President Lincoln guaranteeing us compensation, colonization, and naturalization. So one of the questions we're going to delve into today is, can true emancipation happen without transitioning the mindset of the so-called slave? Can true emancipation happen without transitioning the so-called slave? And the answer should be no, it cannot. No, it cannot happen. Now, let's see what happens if we don't go through that transition. Let's look at Moses and the Israelites. Moses brought the Israelites into Canaan, wanting to take them to the promised land. But Moses had to go up on the mountaintop, and Moses had to talk to the great God, because he had to bring some laws back and some guidance back for the people. Now, Moses went up on the mountain, but when Moses came back, the people had built a golden calf, because they went right back into that slave mentality that they had when they came out of Egypt. Right back to that slave mentality. The prophet left the scene. So what happened? They had to roam around for 40 years until a generation passed off before they could go into the promised land. And Moses didn't make it to the promised land. One of the reasons why Moses didn't make it, because he wanted to feed the foreigners pork. He said, you give the trash to the foreigners, pork, the shrimp, all the things we obviously love and shouldn't be eaten. But that's another lesson. But the lesson is we should only eat things with fins and scales. I'm going to push a button and hopefully I don't mess anything up. But let me read here. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Is that better? No. Okay, so anyway, as the prophet left off the scene in 1929. Grand Sheik Given Zeal picked up where the prophet left off. He taught diet, he taught history, he taught law, he taught all those key essential things that we needed as Moorish Americans. While some of us was trying to change the foundation and do some other things that we obviously thought was necessary. But then the lesson is that truth does not change. Truth does not change. So sticking to the foundation as laid by the prophet, he left off the scene. Grand Sheik John Gibbon Zeal picked up where he left off, and he built on the foundation laid by the founder. When he passed off the scene, Grand Sheik Richardson Dingle picked up, and he continued the work. Now we can look at this in a couple of ways. We can look at it as the universal law, the triune law. We have the founder, who is wisdom. We have the reincarnated prophet, who is will, and we have Grand Sheik Richardson Dingle, along with his brother Timothy Dingle, help to manifest the love, because they were the ones who registered. And Grand Sheik Richardson Dingle established the Moorish Bureau of Vital Statistics, which every state or temple should have a Moorish Bureau of Vital Statistics in accordance with the headquarters of Vital Statistics. But we do our own thing. I don't know why. But 2 generations have passed, and we still have not got it right. Not only have we not got it right, we're starting to amalgamate some of the, which you might want to call it African, you might want to call it black, you might want to call it Eurocentric concepts into more science. Well, if the prophet had received a message that was from the great God Allah, who are we to modify or change anything? That's the question. So, as we talk about emancipation today, or the emancipation process, 2 generations, that's 80 years, plus 17 years, and we can't follow directions. And then I have to hear the young Moes say, "We the new Moes." You ain't new. You are what your ancient forefathers were. You are today, without a doubt or contradiction. And what's funny, because when I came in the temple when I was young, the new Moors had the same song and dance. And the job is still not done. Okay. So, as a Moorish American, I try to the best of my ability to follow the instructions of the prophet, because therein is where we find our salvation. And one of the things that we learn is that Hebrew law plays a significant part in our mission, just as it played a significant part in the founding of this government. I had a discussion the other day. I said, well, it's not the United States, it's actually the Union. The Constitutional preamble says to make a more perfect union. And so the union itself began in 1774 with the Articles of Association. And then they declared their independence in 1776. 1778, they were trying to pull it together, but there was too much individualistic stuff going on, so they had to go back to the table, and finally they came up with the Constitution. And so the prophet clearly says that we're dealing with the history between 1774 and 1865, or if you like, 1779 and 1865. How we get over in Spain, I'm not certain. And how we get so far back in history when the Negro problem exists here and now. So, to help to make this make more sense, we're going to look at let me see. We're going to use the Bible today to explain how actual freedom should work. So I have to find a little. I thought I put everything like this in the computer. Let's make sure. Oh, you know what? It's easier to do it this way. And so let's see. We have here. Let me see. I was sure I put it in. If not, we'll just. Okay. Well, since I got a new tab, I'm going to take that new tab. I'm going to share it. Now, then Leviticus 25:10. And Leviticus 25:10, this is the inscription on the Liberty Bell, says, "Ye shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you, and ye shall return every man to his possession, and ye shall return every man unto his family." Every 50 years. So if we did some proper math, the proclamations went into effect January 1st, 1863. And if I add 50 to that, I come up to 1913. 1913 came, there was no Jubilee, but there did come a prophet. Because there was no Jubilee, there came a prophet. Prophet Noble Drew Allen founded the Moorish Science Temple in our first year of Jubilee, which we did not celebrate. Now, if we follow the pattern, the next Jubilee should have been 1963. Then the next one should have been 2013. The next one is 2063. Because you have missed 1, 2, 3 Jubilees. And as Moorish Americans, we should have been on the floor of Congress asking for some recognition for our Jubilee. We were doing other things. But we need to understand how Hebrew law and actual freedom work hand in hand. So that's the Hebrew law inscribed on the Liberty Bell. And let's talk about the Liberty Bell just for a minute. The Liberty Bell is our ancient landmark. The Brothers' Fezzes also represent the Liberty Bell, and the tassel represents the Mississippi River, because Egypt of the West is between the Rockies and the Allegheny Mountains. And you can put that's also a map lesson, and that's also stated in the compensated proclamation of December 1st, 1862. But as I said, we're going to uh, deal with this from a biblical perspective. So, in order to do that, we're going to have to share. I think I have to stop sharing to go to this. So I put everything up here, but it's in no particular order, of course. Okay, so let's go to. Stop sharing for a second. Go back to my website. Okay, so that was Leviticus 25:10. Now, when the Israelites left Egypt, they did not go away empty handed. And the Bible tells you this. So that's where we're gonna go next. We're gonna look and see. Did the Israelites walk away with nothing? Let's see. No, I have it here. Let's see. And so we can see that verses 35 and 36. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they bought of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians. So they didn't just run up out of Egypt with nothing. When they were set free, they were given gold, silver, clothing, food. They didn't walk out of there empty handed. But here we are in 2025 talking about we free, and we received, as I look back in history, absolutely nothing. Now, nothing plus nothing gives you nothing. Nothing minus nothing gives you nothing. And if we were set free according to Hebrew law or constitutional law, there should have been some just compensation, compensation to the so-called slaveholder to release us as property, and we'll stop carrying Johnson, Smith, Brown, Williams, whatever, all those slave handles names, so-called slaveholders' names. We received absolutely nothing, and neither did they, even though they had already agreed to the terms to receive compensation. It just never, ever happened. And so here we are today talking about reparations according to what law? Is my question. I'm looking at members of the Moorish Science Temple talking about reparations. There's no law. That's just another one of those Negro beliefs that we do reparations. We're due restoration. Restore us our birthrights. Restore us our land. Restore us true citizenship. Why do we want to get paid and stay in mental slavery at the same time? Just a question. So let's look at our freedom as using the Israelites as our example. So one, we see they did not leave Egypt empty handed. The other, we see they had a jubilee every 50 years. Every 50 years, the record's clear, credit, debtors, all this stuff is wiped away. And we start off with a clean slate, and that was called the year of the Lord. And here we are today. What we got? Somebody tell me what we got. We have the means of helping everybody else's economy grow. So, okay, so we know when they left Egypt, they had funds. So, the best way for me to deal with this is, let me see. Um, I should have another place here. So, now people are celebrating what they call, what is it, Juneteenth? Because some people in a little town heard the proclamations. But let us understand how the proclamation was issued. And it says on the 22nd day of September 1862, not only the nation, but the whole world, let me read it again. On September the 22nd, 1862, not only the nation, but the whole world was electrified by the publication, close upon the heels of the Union victory of Antietam, of the proclamation of emancipation, weighted with consequences so wide and far reaching that even at this late date they cannot all be discerned. And it was in these words. So, this proclamation or this proposal of September the 22nd, 1862 was not locally told, it was told internationally. So that means the world knew what should happen. So if we go, we see, and I'm just going to pull some points out for you because we're not going to read this whole thing. So, President Lincoln, as Commander in Chief of the Army and Navy thereof, do hereby proclaim and declare that hereafter as heretofore the war will be prosecuted for the object of practically what? Restoring the constitutional relation between the United States and each of the states and the people thereof, in which states that relation is or may be suspended or disturbed. I had a brother try to tell me the Confederacy was legal. Obviously, he never read Article 1, Section 10. Where it is illegal to establish a confederacy, it's illegal to make your own money. So, and so, the whole thing started off illegally. Then we get to paragraph 2, that it is my purpose on the next meeting of Congress to again recommend the adoption of a measure tendering pecuniary aid. Pecuniary aid is money compensation. This is 1862, but y'all in 2025 trying to make a bill for reparations. Already law. What's wrong with you? It's already law. But you want to make a new bill. Hmm. And then at the end of this paragraph, it talks about colonizing persons of African descent with their consent upon this continent or elsewhere, with the previous obtained consent of the governments existing there, will be continued. When we get to the December 1st, 1862 proclamation, we also get to the point where the colonization should happen here in these United States. Then we go to 3. So we got the second paragraph is in detailed on December is detailed December the 1st, 1862. How this thing has to be carried out. How does compensated emancipation happen? You would have to read the December 1st, 1862 proclamation to understand. And now we get to the next one. That on the first day of January in the year of our Lord, 1863, remember this was printed out to the world. All persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be thenceforth and forever free. Forever free. And the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons, and will do no act or acts to repress such persons or or any of them. Okay, so that includes all of us or any of them. Because some of us read so well, we read over things. We miss a couple of things. So let me read it again, just in case. It says the military and naval authority thereof will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons, and will do no acts to repress such persons or any of them in any efforts they may make for their what? Actual freedom. What kind of freedom? Actual freedom. Because they were free, but what were they free with? Nothing. So those are the three key, from those three paragraphs, we get three proclamations. We get the proclamation, excuse me, we get the proclamation, we have the proposal, September the 22nd, 1862. We have the instructions on December 1st, 1862. And then we have action on January the 1st, 1863. So if the September the 22nd, 1862, if it had, if it did not become law, there would be no January the 1st, 1863. But you know that one, right? Yeah. Maybe you should read the introductory paragraph of that one. All right. And of course, if you are tuned into Actual Freedom Sunday, we discuss the articles that would guarantee the actual freedom process. And so when we see Prophet Noble Drew Ali speak of 1774 to 1865, he's actually talking about the proclamations. He's talking about the Articles of Association, the Declaration of Independence, all the way up till we get to the 13th Amendment. And of course, he's talking about the 13th Amendment with 20 sections. And next week, we will watch how Lincoln supported and pushed the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, which supports his policies, because the 13th too doesn't support anything. But that's another lesson. So I'm trying to stay focused here, people. I'm trying to make sure I get out to you what you need for to understand why we're going to Washington D.C. at the Lincoln Memorial and we're at the reflecting pool, which we do every year. If Moors need to support, but that's not what my story is today. So we clear three proclamations, three amendments, or three articles. Those are three things that we should actually know. Now, let me see. See if I got it right. Um, let's see if I can launch this. So in the Senate on March 31st, 1864, they're discussing slavery. Of course, I'm not going to be able to read all of it to you, but I do want you to hear some of it. It says slavery had existed under some form or other from the first period of recorded history. It dates back even beyond the period of Abraham, the father of the faithful, in whose seed all the nations of the earth were to be blessed. We find that immediately after the flood, the Almighty, for purposes inscrutable to us, condemned a whole race to servitude. Vayama or nukanon effetohem yeeo leeka. And he said, Cursed be Canaan. Slave of slaves he shall be to his brethren. So the old Ham story, the old Cain story, and that's why they claim that the Negro's supposed to be a slave because Canaan got cursed. But ask yourself a question: Did Noah have the power to curse anybody? And it says it it continued among all the people until the advent of the Christian era. So then it goes on to say it was recognized in that new dispensation that which was to supersede the old. It had the sanction of God's own apostle. For when Paul sent back Onesimus to Philemon, whom did he send? A free man, no sir. He sent his dualist, a slave, born as such, not even his anthropodon, who was such by captivity and war. So these are levels of slavery if you try to understand what that means. It says, among all people in all ages has the institution had the sanction both of Mosaic and Christian dispensation. He also undertook to justify succession on the singular grounds that we are sprung from a race of successionists, the proof of which he held to be the fact that while um, I think I left out the footnote, so I'm going to go back into the footnote. If such is to be called, existed and had the countenance of wise and good men, even of the Christian church itself, until these modern times, up at least until the 19th century. It exists in this country and has existed from the beginning. Mr. Holland's reply to the position of Mr. Salisbury that slavery is right as a divine institution, etc., was very able and interesting. He piled up, listen carefully, authority after authority, English as well as American, to show that there is no support of slavery, especially of the title to services of the adult offspring of a slave. At common law, and after also proving by the mouth of the favorite son of Virginia that it has no legal existence by virtue of any municipal or statutory law, he declared that the only remaining law that can be cited for its support is Levitical Code as follows. This is the floor of Congress. They on there talking about the Levitical Code. What you most talking about? Hmm. Just a question. It says, both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. Moreover, of the children of strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession. And ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you inherit them for possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. I remarked, said he, in connection that the Levitical Code or the Hebrew law contains a provision for naturalization of foreigners, whether captives of war or voluntary immigrants. By compliance with the requirement of this law, they became citizens entitled to all the rights and privileges and immunities of native Hebrews. The Hebrew slave code applicable to the Hebrews was in these words: If thy brother, a Hebrew man or Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. Here I request your attention to those who claim, what's that word? Oops, let me see, what's that word? Is that compensation. Yeah, that's it. Compensation for emancipated slaves to the tax. Oh, ain't nobody talking reparations. No, not on the floor, not on the Senate floor. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock and out of thy floor, which means granaries, and out of thy winepress of wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee. Thou shalt give unto him, and it shall not seem hard to thee when thou sendest him away free. For he hath been worth a double hired servant to, to serving to thee and serving thee 6 years. The Hebrew statutes provide that the heathen might be purchased and held as slaves in their posterity after them. That under their naturalization laws, all strangers and sojourners, bond and free, have the privilege of acquiring the rights of citizenship. See, when you come out of slavery and you're in a country, at some point in time, you should become a citizen. It says at the end of 6 years, the Hebrew slave, thus demanding his liberty, was not to be sent away empty. The owner, so far from claiming compensation from his neighbors or from the public treasury for setting him free, was bound to divide with the freedman of his own possessions, to give him of his flocks, his herd, and of his granary, and his winepress, and of everything which the Lord Almighty had blessed the master during the years of servitude. And then the owner was admonished that he was not to regard it as a hardship to be required to liberate the slave and to divide with him of his substance. The Almighty places the liberated slave's claim to the division of his former master's property on eternal principles of justice and the duty to render an equivalent for an equivalent. The slave, having served 6 years, must be paid for his service, must be paid liberally because he had been worth even more than a hired servant during the period of his enslavement. If then, continued Mr. Holland, the justice of this claim cannot be found either as reason, natural justice, or in the principles of common law, or in any positive municipal or statute regulation of any state, and the Hebrew code written by the finger of God protruded from the flames of the fire on the summit of Sinai, I ask whence the origin of the title to the services of the adult offspring of the slave mother? Or is it not manifested that there is no just title? Is it not a mere usurpation without any known mode of justification under any existing code of laws, human or divine? So once again, we will be at the Lincoln Memorial. Okay, I gotta go. It's not there. It's not there. Okay, let's see. Is it here? Yeah. So, so we're going to be at the Lincoln Memorial on Saturday from I say 11 to 4, and we will be teaching and sharing the Moorish Light, because right now you're listening to the Moorish Light Continues. The Revolution is a podcast, and so we're getting close to the time that I have to go. So before I go, I like to read from the 1883 decision. And it says, when a man has emerged from slavery by the aid of beneficent legislation, has shaken off the inseparable concomitants of that state, there must be some stage in the progress of his elevation when he takes the rank of a mere citizen and ceases to be the special favorite of the laws, and when his rights as a citizen or a man ought to be protected in the ordinary mode by which other men's rights are protected. Should I read that one more time? When a man has emerged from slavery by aid of beneficent legislation, has shaken off the inseparable concomitants of their state, there must be some stage in the progress of his elevation when he takes the rank of a mere citizen and ceases to be the special favorite of the laws, when his rights as a citizen was as a man are to be protected in the ordinary mode by which other men's rights are protected. I had some more say to me today, upset me, hurt me to my heart. We fighting to be a part of the government that held us as slaves? No, you fighting to be a part of the government that set you free. The government where your forefathers fought and gave their lives for, that our nation could have a true birth of freedom. Let me set the record straight. How dare you? The prophet says that the European is helping me. Why not you? Why not you? You Moors better pick up that Moorish literature and start studying. And then learn the history behind what should be happening. Stop following Negro philosophy. We're not supposed to be supporting reparations. You don't see it in the prophet's literature. But you do see in there 1779 to 1865 during the time of slavery. So what happened between 1862 and 1865 that slavery should be no more? 7,000 men passed in 1/2 an hour fighting this war so that we could have a true birth of freedom. But we don't even want to study the history. But we want to find. We want to go with whatever the European says. What he teaches you in school. I'm a former teacher, so I know what he teaches. So don't even try to come at me with none of that. Because I am of a mindset. You Moors come at me talking about reparations, I need to block you. That's not the prophet's agenda. The prophet says redeem, restore, receive, recognize. Those are the words he used. He never said set up your own government, separate. He said you part and partial of the government, and you trying to say the government ain't no good. Why don't you learn what the free national constitution of the Republic of the United States is before you run your mouth? Before you have so much to say. Get the facts. They say the truth shall set you free. The truth will make you free. So, we do all this talking because I'm still trying to figure out why you talking reparation and mental slavery is high, is all over the place. It's dressed better, smelled better, it looked better, it's got more money, but it's got no control. You're still fighting the symptoms. We must destroy the cause. We must destroy the cause. As Moorish Americans, our voice should be heard from the highest mountains, demanding that we have our actual freedom. We should be collectively talking to our Congress people. We should be collectively working and moving together instead of trying to fight and fuss with me on Facebook. Because that's what that's if you come at me, the warrior in me won't let me won't allow me to back down because I can't stand to see my children go through another year of this nonsense. they're getting they're getting trained in a they're being trained in a sophisticated with a sophisticated overseer called AI or SI or technology. You putting technologies in this baby's hands before they can start talking. Are they learning to love themselves? Are they learning their history? What? Because parents, you got to learn something so you can stop letting everything else teach your children something. Because me and I fight with AI because I have to ask AI questions 10 different ways to get the truth. That's what I have to do because I learned my lessons before there was a Google or internet or any of the technology you're doing today. I had to go to the library. I had to purchase books. I had to read books. You mo's looking at TikToks thinking you're getting educated. I got people hitting me up with TikToks, 4 and 5 TikToks. Not one person or multiple people. I don't know how y'all think I'm gonna look at all these TikToks. And I'm not. Just be honest. Because I have to study. I have to prepare to teach. Because see, TikTok will dress it up in black when it should be Moorish. But anyway, I do want to share one last thing with you. And I'm going to be out of here. Let me see. Here we go. So this is actual Freedom Day. This has been my flyer for some years now. It's the initial proclamation of 1862. I think our email has changed since. But join the Moorish Science Temple of America in recognition of the true historical destiny of the Moorish nation, September the 27th, 2025, at the Lincoln Memorial. Um, and it is from 12 to 4. Or you can get there. We'll be there early because we have to set up. So if you can stop by, stop by. Talk to us. Let us teach you something. We got something to teach you. So, of course, we've gotten very close to the end of our program. Um, so, if you have any questions, you can actually hit me up on my Facebook page or inbox me, whatever you feel is your best method. But I did want to share that. So, again, I thank Allah that I'm able to even present the Moorish light. I don't have a song today. I thought I had my phone. I was going to read one of my little poems I wrote. But obviously, my phone is not near me. I don't know where it is. So you won't get a poem today. Maybe next week, I'll share some poetry with you. Some of my homegrown poetry with you. But once again, you can join us for Sunday school from 12 to 2, Holy Night from 8 to 10. We have 2 locations here in Baltimore. We have 1055 North Milton Avenue, and we have our sister temple in West Baltimore, 2900 West Pressman Street. You can join either group. We do air our meetings on Facebook Live. If you want to join our meetings, join me for history and law class. Uh, excuse me. Uh, that's from 10:15 to 11:45 every Sunday. I do post it. We also go live on Facebook. And I offer interactions. The only thing I would suggest to you, don't try to come in and take over my class because you can get a fight that you ain't even ready for. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you that's a fight right there. come in, follow along the program. If it's something you want us to discuss, give me some heads up. I'll set up a class for us to have that discussion. But don't come in trying to change my format when I'm teaching. I'm not real good with that. Um, did I miss anything? Oh, and also we have Moorish Thanksgiving, which we celebrate. We be celebrating on October the 5th, which is actually, I don't know how many people know that Jesus was born October the 6th, 4 BC, not December the 25th. So that's our Thanksgiving that we celebrate Jesus. October the 5th. That will be happening at 1055 North Milton Avenue as well as 2900 West Pressman Street. So, join us. We have so much to offer, but you got to come and get it. I'm, I keep trying to share. I got to go through this. Uh, Anybody who see Facebook know what I got to go through. So, without further ado, I hope you have a clear understanding of the proclamation of September the 22nd, 1862, the proposal. And out of that proposal came December 1st, 1862, as well as January the 1st, 1863. Um, so make sure you tune in next week, same place, same time. Um, and if you post any questions, I will respond. But here's what I would like you to do: embrace the prophet, embrace Allah, embrace divine and national, embrace one another, and embrace the mission. And I thank you and I appreciate you for allowing me to bring to you the Moorish Light. The podcast is a revolution. The truth is the light, and the light must shine. So we open in prayer. I guess we can close in prayer. Makes sense, huh? Islam, 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 Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Go in peace, brothers and sisters. And once again, thank you for allowing us to bring to you the Moorish light in love and understanding. Peace.